All right, let's end with sexual follies. So this is a story that came up. It came up again, but in the new year, but it had come up before in the old year. It may be in a way, the silliest story I've ever heard. A metadata study published in the journal Infant and Child Development by John A. Berry of University College London's Institute of Women's Health, as well as colleagues from other universities, has found that young children tend to prefer toys typed to their gender. According to the abstract, after examining the studies, which were conducted in multiple countries across 36 years with a significant sample size of 1,600 children, almost evenly divided between boys and girls, the researchers found that boys played with male-type toys more than girls did, and girls played with female-type toys more than boys did. So boys like boy stuff and girls like girl stuff. And you know, what is so interesting about this is how hard you have to work to keep this information from the public. My daughter, Faith Moore, who writes over at PJ Media, the lifestyle page, has a piece called Feminists Princess Play Important for Girls, but only if princesses are sword-wielding warriors. And this is what's really interesting about this. As Faith points out, there's an article in the New York Post saying that girls like princesses, but includes as princesses Wonder Woman and Princess Leia and She-Ra, you know, the people. But and they quote this study from an old Psychology Today article from 2015 that says that princess play is good for girls and acts like princess. It says that princess play is good for girls. The girls like princess play and it's good for them. And then it says, yes, well, look at She-Ra and Wonder Woman. But that's not what the Psychology Today article talks about. It's talking about little pink princesses who have their friends over for tea. That is the type of princess play that girls like. They actually don't necessarily prefer being Wonder Woman or She-Ra or whatever. They prefer being Cinderella, and nothing that the feminist has done over all this time. You know, feminists are terrible. It's just an awful thing. So what I wanted to point out about this is that if you listen to the way that people react to that the left reacts, especially feminists react to people who disagree with them, it's always by attacking the messenger. So for instance, if you're male, you can't speak, because why would a male get to say anything about women? If you're white or something, or privileged, whatever, or you're old. And this is one of the biggest ones, is when an old guy, because he's old guys are tough, right? Because we don't have anything to lose. So we'll say anything, because we've already got ours as far as women are concerned. You know, it's like we don't have anything to show. They'll say, well, you're old. You're old. You know, have you heard this? They do it all the time. Andy Rooney said he didn't like seeing the old commentator on 60 Minutes, who's now passed away, but Andy Rooney said he didn't like seeing women do football commentary. I don't really like watching women do football commentary either. I never quite believe that they know what they're talking about. But he was just absolutely flagellated for being old. He's 80. What's wrong with you? You're 80. You can't. I just thought, what? So the only thing I want to say about this is just think about how that emphasizes the state of mind of white men. In other words, if I said to women, you would be happier if you were a homemaker and a rearer of children. If I said that, I'm not necessarily saying that. I think each person is different. But if I said that and you said, well, you're being a paternalistic white male old guy, what does that have to do with whether my statement is true or not? It simply has to do with the state of white men. And I think that everything the left does is really about white people. Everything the left does is really about privileging white people. Like if a white guy says, blacks would be happier not having children out of wedlock, and everybody says, you're white, you can't say, how does that help black people? It doesn't. It basically just emphasizes what white men should be like. It privileges white men. So all I want to say about this is that girls will be girls and boys will be boys. And if we are afraid to talk about this stuff, and I think so many of us are, I hear so many people moaning and complaining about feminism behind the scenes who will not go and say what I say, which is I am opposed to feminism itself. I'm not opposed to individuals making their own choices. I'm very much in favor of that, but I am opposed to the philosophy of feminism. If we don't say that stuff, we live in the madhouse. That's the thing. We're trying to get out of the madhouse. For 8 years under the Obama administration, the madhouse surrounded us. Personally, I think it has surrounded us for 50 years. I don't think it matters who's in the White House if the culture around us just supports this insanity. It's going to continue to do that until we say no, until we stop watching and agreeing with and being afraid to say what we have to say. Okay, tomorrow, the mailbag. Send in your questions. Answers are guaranteed 100% correct and will change your life on occasion for the better. I'm Andrew Klavan. This is The Andrew Klavan Show. I will see you then. Oh, hooray, hurrah. The Andrew Klavan Show is produced by Robert Sterling, executive producer Jeremy Boring, senior producer Jonathan Hay. Our supervising producer is Mathis Glover. Technical producer, Austin Stevens. Edited by Alex Zingaro. Audio is mixed by Mike Cormina. Hair and makeup is by Jesua Olvera. And our animations are by Cynthia Angulo and Jacob Jackson. The Andrew Klavan Show is a Daily Wire Forward Publishing production. Copyright Forward Publishing 2017.